Welcome to the video. In this video, we're going to talk about optimal training for arms and shoulders, but let's get into it with some breakfast. All right, so to start the day, I always make a protein shake. This is about 10 ounces of milk, which is about 10 grams of protein. Also 2 scoops of whey protein from My Protein. I usually mix a vanilla scoop and a chocolate scoop just because I like the taste. And also about 5 grams of creatine, which I try to have pretty much every single day. For the food, I got right here some eggs and salsa. What I like to do is do 2 full eggs and then I do 2 egg whites to limit the fat a little bit. And then I put salsa in it because I like salsa, and yes, I eat eggs in a bowl because I'm weird. And lastly, I just got some kiwis right here because kiwis are good, and some extra carbs for the workout. All right, so we're heading to the gym in just a second, but I wanted to show you something real quick. This bottle will have a bunch of white powder. I swear it's legal, but this is actually a brand new pre-workout that's coming out. I met with the owner of this new company the other day, and he was kind enough to give me a sample of this new pre-workout. It is not released yet, and I don't know when it's gonna be released, but basically this brand is called Optimal Levels Nutrition, and their pre-workout that's coming out has all of the optimal levels, that's the name, of all the ingredients that you love in a pre-workout. For an example, instead of having like 4 to 6 grams of citrulline malate, this has 8. Instead of like 2 to 3 grams of beta alanine, this has 5. And so yeah, it's gonna be really cool. So I'm gonna be trying this out today and hopefully it gives me a good pump. I wanna kinda explain why I do the shoulders the way that I do it. As you notice, I do no sort of pressing with my shoulders. The reason I do that is not because I think pressing is bad. I actually think pressing is amazing. I love overhead press, dumbbell standing press, things like that. But currently in my training, I'm already bench pressing so much and at a higher intensity, plus with all the extra volume that I'm doing with my chest, I'm already targeting the anterior delts so much that I find where I lack size in my shoulders is definitely my lateral delts and my posterior delts. So rather than using up my shoulder volume on just more anterior delts, which I don't really need, I'm putting most of the volume into my lateral delts. So as you can see, my workout routine is typically like a lot of machine lateral raises, which I like to superset with dumbbell lateral raises. And I honestly think dumbbell lateral raises are some of the best exercises you can do as a bodybuilder, honestly, because targeting your side delt like that is really difficult to do, but that exercise works so well and effective. And so altogether I did 8 sets of lateral delts. If you do that twice a week, as I do, that's about 16 sets a week, which is plenty to grow your shoulders. Lastly, I want to point out that I do enjoy doing these pause dumbbell lateral raises. I got that from Dr. Mike Israetel. The reason I do that is because I do want to keep the intensity or the weight selection a bit lower so I don't completely wreck my shoulders, because 16 to 22 sets, which is typically what I do in my programming, is a lot of sets for your shoulders. And so in order to keep them just kind of healthy and staying away from any like overuse injuries, I prefer to definitely use a lighter weight and just do the pause, and I get the same effect, same pump and everything like that. So that's shoulders. Now on to biceps and triceps. All right, so triceps, optimal way to approaching tricep training. So as you saw, I started off with like a seated dip. I really like these, but I don't like to overdo it. The reason why I like these is because it has the most carryover to compound movements such as bench press. But I don't like to overdo it because if I'm working on a lot of compound movements already, I don't want to add that extra fatigue in. But I did hit it for a couple of sets, and then I moved on to extensions and overhead extensions. The reason why you should do both, obviously triceps are going to help extend at the elbow, but specifically your long head of the triceps, which actually is the biggest part of your triceps, is in a stretched position when it's over your head, because it also aids in shoulder extension. So by putting it over your head, you're gonna kind of focus on the bigger head of your tricep, and then having it down by your side doing a normal extension, it's obviously gonna work more like your lateral head and medial head, things like that. So yeah, that's triceps. On to biceps. Okay, lastly, optimal bicep training. So as you can see, starting off with cables. I really like doing cables for biceps. It doesn't really matter if you use a straight bar or a rope, but just know that the straight bar already puts you in a supinated position. Your biceps do wrist supination. But the rope allows you to do the supination as part of the movement. So I think switching off, you'll be fine. So I incorporate that. I also like to do heavy barbell curls. This helps you focus on your brachialis, which is actually the muscle underneath your biceps that helps push your biceps forward, especially if you do it with heavy weight. So for that reason, I do kind of like sets of 8 or less. And then also I always do alternating bicep curls. This just helps with more supination, which once again is one of the actions of your bicep, is supination, along with obviously elbow flexion. Sometimes I'll change my exercise variations up. I think in general you want to keep with an exercise for a mesocycle, aka like 4 to 8 weeks, so you can progress that exercise before moving on to the next. Quick side note, this turf is so sick. It's about 45-50 yards of turf, and I think every gym needs this 100%. All right guys, gonna wrap up the video there. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully this helps you train a bit more optimally for your arms and shoulder days. And anyway, subscribe to the channel, give it a like, and we'll see you later. Peace.